This is my video review for DC Comics Icons, The Flash. These are a little bit different than what you're used to in the DC Collectibles line. They have a little bit more articulation than what we've seen before, which I like. If you take a look at the box, here you have the DC Icons package. Nice. Now, on top you get that. We'll get the Flash there. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, neat stuff. Alright. With it, you get a figure stand, which is a treadmill. You get two different hands, two different sets of hands. One is kind of a fist and an open hand, and then the other is that running hand, straight hand, like that one. Yeah, onto the figure. Had a little bit of problem pulling this out of package. You might want to be careful here. Be very careful pulling this out of package. This part right here. This part. The part that attaches to here. Be very careful with this, because if you are not careful with this, then this will happen. If you didn't see that, that will happen. And you will be like me, where you're going to have to use super glue of some sort to glue it back together. It's a really nice piece, really nicely detailed. Let's see if we can get a focus on the details there. Get all sorts of buttons that are detailed on this thing, which they came out very, very nice. And you get some really nice paint apps on the treadmill itself. Now underneath, it's flat to give you kind of a base. But then on the other side, which really doesn't face you on the shelf, you have nice paint app details, which is a nice touch. It gives you the option, if you want to show it on this side instead, then you get the nice paint apps to not be an eyesore. This thing is nice. That really gets me though. That's really brittle, really fragile plastic, and I really advise you be careful with that in pulling it out of the package, because that's what happened to me. I pulled it out of the package, and that's what I get. On to the figure itself. The figure itself has some really nice articulation. One of the things that's been holding me back from jumping into the DC Collectibles, which I do have some, but one of the things that's kind of held me back from jumping full force is the articulation. They seem kind of behind in the times on the articulation on these guys, which is unfortunate, because they're really awesome characters. Now, with him, you get your head turn. You can move his head down, not very much up. This is about as far as you're gonna get to get him to go up. You get, of course, he can rotate his head around like the Exorcist, and he can move his chin down, but that's about as far up as you're gonna get. That's as far down. Now, onto the shoulders, you have a pivot. You have a 360, which is nice. Then at the bicep, you have a swivel joint. Now, on the elbows, you get a double jointed. For some reason, it's harder to get this joint to bend, but it does bend, as you can see. And you can almost, yep, what'd you say? Were you talking to me? Couldn't hear you. You get some wrist bend and swivel, which is cool. Right here, you get a turn under the ribs. So you can go that way, and go that way. And then you get ab crunch. And he comes back also. Now, with the legs, this is something, an improvement I've really liked. I'm not really a big fan of T-crotches. So, you get a thigh pivot. He doesn't turn, comes up that far. If you can see, let me move there. There. Goes up that far. Yep, that's as far up as we're gonna get. And that's as far back. Doesn't go too far back there. Alright. Get double jointed knees, which thank you for catching up with the times. So he can kick his own ass. That's always nice. Then you get a swivel at the boot. You get ankle tilt. Looks like he broke his ankle. And you get a tilt here where you can tilt them forward and backwards. Which that's nice for standing poses. Really like him. I really like the figure. The only thing I can say is it's really unfortunate on his stand track. But he's pretty cool. I like the figure itself. Not really big on that. That sucks. But the detail on it's cool, and I know where to find glue, so the paint apps are done really nicely. I think there was, yeah. I don't know if you'll be able to see this or not. Okay, right here. Some of the paint apps aren't going to be perfect, but they did a pretty good job. I can't complain on that. The head sculpt is absolutely amazing. One of my gripes on the DC figures is the head sculpts, and I like this one. I really do. I like it a lot. I like the facial features. I like how it looks more real than cartoony. I hope to see more of this out of DC and less of the cartoony figs. But I like him. I recommend him. I recommend the Icons line, to be quite honest. They're doing a pretty good job with them. So, that's my review, and thank you for viewing.